This has been a rough 2 weeks.
Yes.
They said that, when the captain, the head of the snake gets knocked off, that everything after that suffers. But I haven't liked how this team been looking. However, the bright spot is that the rough part is over.
That I can agree with. That I can
The
agree with.
rough part is over.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
Oh my good. This 6 game stretch was rough, but
Yeah.
the remaining 16 games,
Easy
you know,
peasy.
I'm not gonna say easy peasy, but you know,
We shall see.
I had this team going 15-7. This was just before Brunson
Got hurt.
injured himself
Hmm.
in these last 22 games. Highly unlikely, specifically since they are already 2-4 in the first 6 games. They're not gonna go 13-2 in the next
Mm,
in the
I don't
next
think so.
next games here. So
I just felt
13-3
like,
rather.
did you think, okay, so yesterday, last night's game, I just felt like they had a chance.
They had a chance. It just the last 3 minutes was the deciding factor.
Yeah, just.
They tied it up. I think like 3 turnovers in the last 3 minutes. Bad shots they took.
Hmm.
You know, it just decision making at that point in time was critical. And a
Hmm.
team that still has top player on their
Yeah.
team still active, and even though they did a good job in corralling him to a certain extent, they you can say they paid too much attention to him because the others got too many easy baskets. You
Yeah.
know,
Then what's his name?
so and they took advantage of it. Which is the right by that team. If you overflood yourself on one person, they are supposed to make sure that they identify the open man and take advantage of it. So the
And
Knicks
that
the Knicks
happened.
the Knicks did that all last year. Back end, the back ends, everyone focused upon Brunson, and then somebody slid through the back and get an easy basket.
Mhm.
Happened a
Mhm.
lot last year. So it's not that's basketball.
Yeah.
So credit them for playing good basketball and having a good head on a snake at that point in time. But unfortunately, I didn't like the decision making in the last 3 minutes. They took some bad shots. And it's not like that they made shots.
Mhm.
They put them on the free throw line. It was bad fouls. It was the last 2 minutes really was the deciding factor.
But I also think what also contributed to that was Draymond getting into Cat's head.
You think that's what happened?
I think he would have played better. He
You
had those
think that's
fat,
what happened?
those three. I think that contributed to it because he couldn't. He didn't come back until what, the third quarter? Was it, or the fourth quarter? And in the third,
Yeah.
and I think it just took him off his game because, third was with 3 fouls in the second by the second quarter.
I, I can't say I don't have evidence to say that that wasn't the case
Mm,
but I can say the opposite. Cat gets in foul trouble throughout the whole season.
that is true.
So
True.
whether they took advantage of his
Mm-hmm.
inability to recognize when he should foul and when he should not foul, were they in his head?
Possible.
I
Yeah,
can't,
you never know.
but at the end of the day, he has to be aware that his power and his benefit to this team is being on the court. And
Mm-hmm.
how you value that is more important than whatever gets you in foul trouble. If
Yeah.
that's something that he's either being not um, aware or the refs are just calling stupid fouls, which is a little bit of both anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
some picks that are being called don't get called on other people, but they get called on him. So can't. But that's been all the season anyway. So it's not like it's happening just in this game. It's happened the whole season.
That is true. We
But
shall
I'm
see.
not, so I can't say anything about that. That as far as him not in the game because of what that dude did. Because I don't speak that dude's name anyway. Um, but at the end of the day. They were in position to win. The
Yeah.
last 3 minutes,
Let it go.
they didn't execute the way they should have executed. Whether that was because Brunson wasn't on the floor, who's to say that Brunson was on the floor? They would have been in a winning position, you know, because they probably would not have used OG and Bridges in the same way if Brunson was on the court.
Mm.
So they've been a totally different game. Who knows? So the fact that whatever this game was, they were in position to win. They
Yeah.
didn't do what they supposed to do in the third quarter. I mean, in the last 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now the game in Portland, I would like I said at the end of last week. This was the opportunity for Tibbs to show that he remembers what he did last year. That wasn't my book as far as a bunch of injuries, utilizing his bench in different ways. He did that in the games against Sacramento and Portland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he emphasized that in the game against Golden State to the point to where they was in a winnable position.
Right.
You know, so I can't beat up on the coach because he did what he did last year, got this team in position to win. I still don't like him, but he did what he did.
I think he's gotten a little better. I think he's
Yeah.
gotten a little better.
I'll let you speak to what you define as better, but I don't feel that way.
I don't know. I think he's listening more. I think he's taking the suggestions about using.
What?
I
What?
think so. I mean, think about how he was last year.
Yeah,
He
I
wasn't
remember how he
listening
was
to
last year.
anything. I think he's opened up his ears a little, a little, not much, just a little. And because of that, you
Yeah,
know,
I can't quantify that.
all right,
So
we'll see how it go. We'll
yeah,
see
I
how the
can't
rest of the season go.
I can't quantify that. So I'll let that be.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the game is tomorrow against
So
Miami.
you know, yeah. So next, they play 4 games this week,
Mm-hmm.
and tough
Back to
schedule
back on Wednesday,
because
Thursday.
because it's because it's 4 games in 7 days. 4 games in 6 days actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, 4 games in 6 days. So you got home against Miami,
Yeah.
away against San Antonio, away against Charlotte, and home against Washington.
Yeah.
So those 4 games, I can see them. I put
So
I put down them going 3-1, but they need to go 4-0. You know, Brunson he went out after the Laker game, so that was on March 6th. They said 2 weeks, so at a bare minimum. So after the Charlotte game, I
mm-hmm.
expect him to be back on the court for that Wizards game.
Hope so.
We'll see what happens at that. But regardless of whether he's on the court or not, they need to win these 4 games.
I'm
So
I'm thinking 3-1.
that's what I have written down. I have written down 3-1, but they need to win 4 games straight.
Okay.
They've because they've um, already lost 4 games in these last 22. It puts them in a bad position that they got to win every single game that they're supposed to win. So
Mm-hmm.
these 4 games they play are against teams that currently don't have a winning record.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Miami is under. It's 500 right now. I think Miami is. Let me see.
What are they?
Yeah, they're 29 and 38. So
Yeah.
they're under.
Okay. Let's see.
So every team except for yeah, every team is under 500. So they need to win these 4 games.
Okay. We'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go 3-1. But if they do 4-0, I would love it.
Yeah, that's asking a lot of them because especially when you have a back to back on the
Mm-hmm.
road, But there is no. You need to win every single game you possibly can, and these 4 games say it. Now think about it. Here's the other caveat to all this. There's not, I don't know if it's about positioning right now, but say for whatever it is, um, they've solidified a 3 position.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Bucks, Pacers, and Pistons are all fighting for 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
If the playoffs ended today, we will play Detroit. Now Detroit has had our number this whole season.
Yeah.
So They gotta get right as soon as possible because that Detroit team, regardless of whether they have young people on the court, inexperienced people on the court for in the playoffs, they've had the Knicks number.
Yeah,
So
totally agree.
they gotta get right because that first round series is going to be crazy if they play Detroit. I
Mm,
feel more confident against them against the Pacers and the Bucks versus them
yeah,
against the Pistons.
yeah, and I'm glad that everybody's basically healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be going to the first round healthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. But I don't know. I just want them to stay in the third seed right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't not wanting them to drop. That's not even the case here. But just know they got to get their game right because that Piston team is going to be something that's not going to be played with when they come to the
Hmm.
playoffs.
Hmm.
And whatever uh, efforts that contribute toward unity on the court and getting that grit back, they're gonna need every bit of it when they play against that Detroit team because they
Yeah,
they already gonna come into the series confident.
yeah, that is true.
Hmm.
Oof. I don't know. We shall see. We
But
shall
right
see.
now, I'm happy that they were able to resolve um, whatever it was to resolve right after the Laker game,
Mm,
after the Clipper game, I should say. They won those two games, tough games. Well, Sacramento wasn't a tough game, really. They blew them out,
mm,
but the Portland game was a tough one because that's again another hungry team. They're
mm,
young and they're getting their confidence, and it took a lot, everything out of them to get that win out.
mm,
So,
mm-hmm.
and then against a quality team against Golden State, they didn't execute properly in the last 3 minutes. That's what decided the game. So
Hmm.
they got to learn something from that.
And they've lost two against the Warriors this month.
Yeah, yeah.
So this, ugh, we shall see. So you're saying 4-0.
No, I said I wrote 3-1. I wrote
Okay.
down 3-1 on
Okay. But
my
you want
sheet.
4-0.
On my sheet, I wrote down 3-1, but I
Okay.
want 4-0.
Okay. All right.
I'm not hedging my bets. They need to go 4-0
I
this
would love
week.
that. And I think it's possible.
Hmm.
I really
Because
do.
every single one of those teams they can beat with or without JB.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And especially with the Spurs, their big man is out for the rest of the year.
That is true, but the Spurs just beat the Pelicans. You
Oh, they
know,
did.
yeah,
Okay.
they just beat, and that's not saying much, but they're not playing not to lose. They playing to win. So you got to go bring your A game against that team, and your A game should beat this team. That's my point.
Hmm.
You cannot slack. You have to bring your A game to these four teams. And if you do that, you should win these four games.
Okay. So you're saying 4-0.
No,
Three and
they
one.
need they
You're saying
need to
three and
go.
one, but you
They
want
need to
four.
go. And when it comes to next week and they go 3-1, I'm going to write down 3-1. It's going to equal what my sheet says. But they need to go 4-0.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
totally agree.
I can't change my sheet. That's written down.
I totally agree.
Because
I would like to see
I
it too.
always figure whenever they play a back to back, they're going to lose one of those games. So that's why I put down one loss. I'm not,
Hmm.
you know, and so that's why I say that. But they can't come into these games. They got to put their A games in every single one of them, which and that also means coming from the coach. He has to coach in a way that's going to win those games. And if that means they got to put in 40 plus minutes for each one of those guys, that's what it's going to be. And the sad part, that's what's going to be in the playoffs anyway. Because
Yeah.
he's not going to trust any of those guys. He's not going to do that. That's just who he is. So
Yeah.
unless he's forced to do so,
Oof.
that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Mac Nick.
Me too. Me too. McNick is going 3-1.
I hear you. All
3-1.
right. Well, I'm signing off. Great talking to you. Enjoy it. Nice
Hey.
having you back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Harlem to MSG.
All right. Talk to you.
Mhm.